right, good evening. Welcome to week 9 of 16. This is our March 18th class. You were to have read chapters 8 and 9 and do two cases. So I'm going to go over the materials from chapters 8 and 9. You'll be able to see these on Canvas, apparently where you're seeing them now. I guess the only thing I really kind of want you to remember is that summer registration's open already, but fall registration is scheduled to open March 30th. That's still the plan right now. I think it looks like Macomb's going to be closed right now, at least through April 3rd. So our next class might be like this as well, and we will still have the quiz. Alrighty, so let's go through chapter 8. On page 344, chapter 8 is location planning and analysis. On page 344, about in the middle, location decisions are strategically important for other reasons as well. One is that they entail a long-term commitment, which makes mistakes difficult to overcome. So location decisions are a big deal. On page 346, globalization has opened new markets and it has meant increasing dispersion of manufacturing and service operations around the world. Globalization, which is one of the objectives for this course. On page 348, automation. Talk a lot about automation in this class. Automation is having a major influence on the decision of where to produce goods, particularly if the main markets are domestic. Automation. Sorry, we're not having an in-class discussion on your independent research. A lot of folks did, in fact, choose automation. On page 350, in a report by the Council on Competitiveness and Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu that surveyed 400 global CEOs on their views on manufacturing competitiveness, the top 3 factors in determining where to locate manufacturing facilities were talent, labor costs, and energy cost. We talked a lot about identifying locations, and I think I put on a lot of folks your assignments. You know, what are the 3 most important things in determining real estate value? Location, location, location. On page 352, many foreign manufacturing companies have located manufacturing operations in the United States because it is a major market for their products. Foreign manufacturing companies would not want to locate here if it wasn't that we were a major market. We have been and continue to be so. On page 353, another trend is just-in-time manufacturing techniques, see chapter 14, which encourage suppliers to locate near their customers to reduce supplier lead times. For this reason, some U.S. firms are considering decisions to locate offshore. We talked a lot about onshoring, but still offshoring is an issue. Don't put your hands in your mouth with the corona disease. All right, the top of page 354. Industrial parks may be worthy alternatives for firms involved in light manufacturing or assembly, warehouse operations, and customer service facilities. Industrial parks. That's what they're for, and they're pretty popular. On page 356, customer access is sometimes a prime consideration, as it is with banks and supermarkets, but not a consideration in others, such as call centers, catalog sales, and online services. Manufacturers tend to be cost-focused concerned with labor, energy, and material costs and availability, as well as distribution costs. That's the same page that talks about clustering. Quite a few folks did their independent research on clustering. All right, I didn't do a lot with the math type problems, and the relative to Hello Walmart, I think everybody got an answer back on what you did, what you handed in for that. So Hello Walmart. So chapter 9, management of quality. At the bottom of page 373, broadly defined, quality refers to the ability of a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer requirements or expectations. However, different customers will have different requirements, so a working definition of quality is customer dependent. Who determines quality? The customer determines it. So again, quality is the ability of a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer expectations. Page 374 toward the bottom. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, skilled craftsmen performed all stages of production. So there wasn't the separation of labor. People did stuff, you were an artisan, you did stuff start to finish before the Industrial Revolution. On page 377, toward the bottom, Taiichi Ohno and Shigo Shingo. Taiichi Ohno and Shigo Shingo both developed the philosophy and methods of Kaizen, which is a Japanese term for continuous improvement, defined more later in the chapter. But Kaizen, which is really change for the better, Zen. On page 379, they talk about service quality. They talk about all the different attributes of that, including the last one. They talk about consistency, the ability to provide the same level of good quality repeatedly. Expectations, meet or exceed customer expectations. So expectations of the customer really drive quality. On page 381, the design phase is the starting point for the level of quality eventually achieved. Design. I've had several of you in design for manufacturing. The quality of design, intention of designers to include or exclude features in a product or service. So the design phase, we say 80% of the cost is built in during the design phase. On page 382, one important key to quality is reducing the variability in process outputs, i.e. reducing the degree to which individual items or individual services acts vary from one another. So variability, where I used to work, that was key, reducing variation, eliminating variation. Also on page 382, under responsibility for quality, top management has the ultimate responsibility for quality. My old boss used to say, you show me an operation that's got problems, and I'll show you an operation that's got a leadership issue. So top management ultimately is responsible for quality. On page 383, under benefits of good quality, they talk about the Baldrige Quality Award. Described later in the chapter, it is important for management to recognize the different ways in which the quality of a firm's products or services can affect the organization and take these into account in developing and maintaining a quality assurance program. On page 384, toward the bottom, appraisal costs are the costs of activities designed to ensure quality or uncover defects. The cost of quality, any serious attempt to deal with quality issues must take into account the costs associated with quality. Those costs can be classified into three categories: appraisal, prevention, and failure. Prevention, failure. On page 387, down toward the bottom, ISO 9000, 14,000, 24,700. The International Organization for Standardization, ISO, promotes worldwide standards for the improvement of quality, productivity, and operating efficiency through a series of standards and guidelines. I think many of you have different ISO. You can't be ISO certified, but you can be ISO registered. Look it up. On page 389, quality and the supply chain. Business leaders are increasingly recognizing the importance of their supply chains in achieving their quality goals. And several of you did talk about supply chains as well in your independent research. On page 390, Total Quality Management, TQM, a philosophy that involves everyone in an organization in a continual effort to improve quality and achieve customer satisfaction. There's been a lot of different quality improvement programs over the years. Actually, my title in 1987 for probably 5 years was the Manager of Total Quality. Page 391 toward the top, fail-safing, incorporating design elements that prevent incorrect procedures. Fail-safing. Several of you also talked about, they call it in here, mistake-proofing, fool-proofing, or poka-yoke. Poka-yoke. On page 394, they talk about Plan, Do, Study, Act. Plan, Do, Study, Act. Also, a lot of people call it what? Plan, Do, Check Act, PDCA, or the Deming cycle, the Deming wheel. On page 395, typical goals of process improvement include increasing customer satisfaction, achieving higher quality, reducing waste, reducing cost, increasing productivity, and reducing processing time. On page 396, under Six Sigma, and several of you talked about that as well. A couple of you are actually going for some color of belt. Six Sigma, a business process for improving quality, reducing cost, and increasing customer satisfaction. The term Six Sigma has several meanings. Statistically, Six Sigma means having no more than 3.4 defects per million opportunities in any process, product, or service. On page 404, brainstorming. Brainstorming is a technique in which a group of people share thoughts and ideas on problems in a relaxed atmosphere that encourages unrestrained collective thinking. Brainstorming, it's a technique for generating a free flow of ideas in a group of people. Benchmarking, actually, somebody asked about that earlier. Hey, what is benchmarking? Benchmarking is a process of measuring performance against the best in the same of another industry. So that's where, at that point, the stock market was going crazy. Said, okay, who's got 10%? Who's got 20? Who's got 30? Well, somebody, I believe, had 27% in the stock market. Now the stock market is down, as I do this, about 30% for now. All right, and then the same thing, Tip Top Markets. I believe I gave everybody more information there, so I won't have to do it here. All right, so we only had 2 chapters, chapters 8 and 9. That wasn't too much. I went over some things that I find interesting that you might as well. Right now, as I tape this on March 15th, I believe, March 17th, like I said. Right now, I believe Macomb Community College is still going to be closed down through April 3rd. That's not official, but it's pretty official. So we'll probably do this same thing. If it goes this short in the future, I might just kind of reminisce about chapters 6 through 12, including a couple supplements. So, all right. If you have questions, feel free to email me. If you send me a question on Canvas, I don't get it as quickly as I do an email, or you're welcome to call me too. 231-740-2614. I thank you very much. I hope everyone is healthy. I haven't heard anybody at Ferris or in our class, certainly, or even at Macomb Community College has gotten sick. So I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Night.